Ex-FWB is angry I'm getting married. For years, I've had an on-again, off-again FWB relationship with a friend I've known since high school. He set the rules, told me this is what it is, and that it will never be anything more than that. I accepted those terms. When he felt like things were getting a little too close for comfort, he spoke up and said that it felt like I was pushing for more and that we needed a break. I wasn't pushing for more, but no problem. We took a break. For the most part, we accepted it as it was. And if one of us wanted more with someone else, we called it off and left the other alone. But when things went south, we were back to messing around. This went on for 9 years. The last year, it felt like things were changing. He was more possessive of me. He became more affectionate. When I brought up that it felt like he was changing our dynamic, he laughed it off and said he just felt like being a little more affectionate at that moment and not to look more into it. While out one night, he said there was something he wanted to tell me, something he said he's been feeling, but wanted to tell me when the time was right. He then booked a hotel for the weekend, and we went on a small vacation together. In the middle, he took my hands, looked at me, and said again, "There's something I'm going to say this weekend, but I'm looking for the right time." The weekend ended, and he never said a word about what it was. Shortly after, I had invited him over and found him in my bathroom crushing one of my pain meds. I immediately confronted him, and his response was, "You don't really need it." I threw him out and decided it was best to end things altogether. So I did. Days later, he apologized, said he was in a dark place, and swore he was getting help. I told him I hoped that he did and wished him luck. Despite my ending it, he continued to pursue the friendship. I decided I was going to distance myself from him. If he was using, the last thing I needed was that in my life. Every time he asked to hang out, I told him no. I stopped seeing him. I didn't reach out to him to talk, but he would reach out to me. Eventually, I started seeing someone. When he reached out and asked about restarting the FWB, I told him that I can't, that I have a boyfriend now. He lost it. He started calling me names and accused me of leading him on. He said that I betrayed him, and I stopped him right there and pointed out that he was the one who didn't want me as anything more. He didn't want me as a girlfriend, and he was the one who kept slamming the brakes. He never once said he wanted more, never once even said he loved me. If things had changed, he never said anything to me about it. For 9 years, I was a friend with benefits, and that was that. He called me more names and blocked me on everything, but he would keep asking my friends about me and my boyfriend. A year later, he unblocked me to see how I was. I told him I was fine, and he asked if I was married yet. I stopped talking after that, and he went back to asking my friends questions. Now here it is 3 years later, and I'm about to get married in 2 months. Somehow he found out, and he's angrily screaming about it to anyone who will listen, about how I left him after 9 years for that guy. We were never anything. I have him blocked, and told everyone to stop telling me what he's saying. Stop showing me texts and screenshots, and absolutely don't tell him anything about me. I'm not his business. Seriously, the audacity of this guy. Edit, yes, my future husband knows about him. His response was telling the FWB to grow up and saying it's his fault it took him 9 years to realize the worth in what he had. Now for the top comments. Stop talking to this loser. Don't degrade yourself any further by taking his calls. He doesn't gross you out at all? Why answer? I don't. I did stop talking to him. That doesn't mean he's not harassing my friends. He and I haven't spoken in 2 years, but he's still bugging my friends. Wish you best of luck in your marriage. Does your future husband know about what he is doing? Do you think he can reach out to him man to man and tell him to stop contacting you? Yes, he does. He knows. He thinks the old FWB is just acting like a child at losing his toy. Sounds like you picked a good spouse who knows what's up. I wish you all the luck and hope your old FWB wises up. Honestly, it sounds like user behavior. I hope I'm wrong because I hope he got help, but it does sound like that. Could also just be pure entitlement. You were in an FWB relationship with a narcissist. He didn't want you to be his girlfriend because he wanted to have you and others. That's why he always shut down anytime you pushed to be in a relationship. He thought he could have it all until you finally dumped him. And now that you're happy with someone else, he's mad. A piece of advice: he seems unstable enough to crash your wedding, and I truly hope that you didn't send him any nudes, because he's desperate enough to blow up your world. If you have any sort of sex tape with him, you need to tell your fiancé before the a-hole send it to him as revenge. Be careful and hire security at your wedding. Nope, I've never sent him nudes, nor anyone else. I've seen how fast that backfires. Next story. My husband is still best friends with the girl he had a 6-year long-term relationship with, and admitted I was ugly when they recently hung out. 32 female and 38 male. Original post. I have been married for 4 months now, and we had dated for 2 years prior. This girl has been in his friend group for quite some time now, and it was never an issue until recently. We hosted a little celebration recently, and at one point, all the ladies were gathered in a room and I was chatting with her. She's unmarried, 3 years older than me, and stunningly pretty too, like model gorgeous. So we were laughing and talking well until she brought up my husband, asking me how it's going and if he was troubling me in any way, in a joking manner. She then pulled out her phone and scrolled down to show me pictures of him from before. I was surprised she still had photos from that time, but nearly every single one of them was from when they dated, and when I got uncomfortable and told her to stop, she just laughed it off. My husband was in his 20s then. She called it his prime, and they traveled more than he and I ever did. What shocked me most was that she showed me pictures and videos of them having traveled to Barcelona twice. And this was shocking because when I told him I wanted to visit that place, he outright refused and said he hated it, calling it boring. At a point, I was tired of her telling all their stories, so I left. It was probably a bit silly to get angry about something like this, but I decided to leave the room. Later that night, all his friends were down in the living room. One of their spouse needed to breastfeed, so I gave her a separate room for privacy. I thought of joining them all, but then I heard one of the guys talking about how my husband's parents accepted me into the family. For context, he and his family are all Korean, and most of his friends also belong to the same community. I am from Indonesia, and it was a lot of trouble when he told his parents about me. Though all of that has been resolved now, it felt weird to hear it again, especially since slurs are still thrown around, even though I've been living here for years. My husband told them it's been tough, but that it's all right now. Then his friend, the one I had chatted with earlier, talked about how she had sent him on many blind dates with pretty women before he chose me. They were all drunk, so maybe they didn't realize or didn't mean those words, but it still hurt a lot. They all started laughing loudly, telling my husband how I was a bit ugly according to his standards in the past, and one of them even acknowledged his past relationship with the girl. My husband then said words I never imagined he would. He told them, I might have married her, but she's still ugly. Someone who used to comfort me when I cried, take me shopping and gift me clothes. Someone I was now trying to have a kid with, admitting I'm ugly. It felt terrible. All the incidents of the day just overwhelmed me, and I walked out before I could hear too much. I decided to shower and go to sleep before they all did. But even this morning, after they all left and my husband slumped back into bed, I still keep thinking about it. It's difficult to convince myself now that they're only friends. They have a longer history than I do with him, and his friends acknowledging it made it worse. This morning, despite his state, he hugged her goodbye and packed some sweets for her that he said she liked for her trip back. It's been eating away at my insecurity, especially after seeing those pictures. My husband looked much younger, with none of the fine lines he has now and that youthful glow. A part of me is jealous I never experienced that part of him. She's not only wealthier than me, but also very pretty, and it hurts after being called ugly by someone I thought loved me. This has been bugging me for a while, and it also seems like a very stupid thing to confront him about. Can any of you give me advice on what to do? Edit. She even talked about how they used to send each other bouquets, without roses, but with other gifts instead. I had told him that I wanted one of those for my birthday, with books included, but he told me he had better things in mind and never got me one. I feel bad that he didn't do it when I asked, but it was a routine gesture for someone before me. Now for the top advice before reading the update. Your issue shouldn't be with this woman, but with your husband. The man you married feels comfortable sitting around with friends and talking badly about you. A good man would have shut down that conversation and never allow guests in his home to degrade his wife in any way. I had to set my phone down when she mentioned her husband's friends casually referred to her using racial slurs. If anyone had the freaking audacity to call my partner a racial slur, in my own house no less, they're getting knocked the F out. I had expected him to shut it down or even divert the conversation, but he just accepted it, and that's what hurts. I've been in this situation before, and luckily it was right before marriage. No man should disrespect you like that, especially not your partner. When I first found out, I shut down because it was about how much I talked, and I took that as a need to feel bad about myself and self-reflect. A series of other problems came up before I finally had the courage to leave. I wish I would have left the moment I found out though, because there is no way someone who truly cares about you, and not just what you do for them, would say something like that. When I left, he ended up with the girl he used to talk poorly about me with. You deserve someone who chooses you, to your face and behind your back. Now for the update. So I shared this incident with my friends, and they've urged me to make plans with them to visit Barcelona. I agreed and we went shopping for it. I've been feeling much better after talking to them and from all the support you guys gave too, so I'm really grateful. My husband has been texting me continuously. I'm staying at my friend's house for now. I texted him saying I wasn't happy with the company he keeps and told him about what his friend did, showing me their pictures. I also told him that he admitted I was ugly to his friends. He replied saying he was mostly drunk and didn't mean it, and that within his and his friends' culture, it's normal to comment on people's appearances and not take it to heart. He then said all the cheesy stuff about how he still thinks I'm really beautiful. But I can't accept that anymore. He said he'll talk to his friends and ask them to apologize. I also told him I could leave if he still had feelings for his friend, and he said it was just a past fling, and there's a reason they broke up. He said I'm the one he wants to have kids with. But I feel like he just wants me to be a baby-producing machine for his family. I'm still looking for a lawyer, and my brother has offered to help too. He got really angry after hearing about the situation. I have a place of my own that I might move to after I come back from the trip. My husband keeps calling, even though I told him to stop, and he hasn't respected that. I'm still a bit confused, but I think this trip is going to help me clear my mind. I haven't told him anything yet, and I'm thinking of blocking him on my socials, though my friends suggest I let him see that I'm living my best life even without him. Last story. My girlfriend was brought into this world filthy rich, and it frustrates me. I love her so much, and it's so frustrating that she's not aware of her extremely privileged upbringing sometimes. Sometimes, she'll get bored and go shopping and spend thousands of dollars in a day, whereas I'm struggling to pay a bloody phone bill every month and have contemplated how I'm going to afford catching the bus with only $5 left in my pocket. Today, I voiced a frustration. I can't get a root canal treatment done and see my psychologist at the same time because I simply can't afford it. It's one or the other. And she offered to pay, said to take it one step at a time and that it'll all work out in the end. Which sounds so nice now, but at the time, I was frustrated and told her she has the ability to say things like that because she has never had to worry about having food on the table, and that she has never lived through the daily burden of simply just existing. She brings me to fancy restaurants all the time and pays for all of our holidays, when I've made it really clear that one trip a year with a budget of a backpacker is all I can afford. We fought over me refusing expensive things from her at random times. She bought me a MacBook one time when my old one was working perfectly fine. I know what I sound like. It's ungrateful. I just can't explain how I'm feeling. It's like I'm studying and working every day so I can have the means to live a somewhat decent life. While she was born with it? It's not her fault, I know. It's just that sometimes I don't think she even remembers that I grew up dirt poor in a third world country. I'm not built for luxury. The financial inequality must be so frustrating for her too, even. I'm sure she would love to be with someone who can afford everything she deserves. My man, she's with you because she loves you, for who you are, not for any financial gain. You're lucky to have found someone who truly values you as a person. Accept her gifts as thoughtful gestures and be grateful that she's part of your life. Tell her you love her. Don't let something like this ruin a great relationship. You're overthinking it. If she happens to have money and expresses her love through gift giving, then appreciate that. She sounds like a wonderful person, and I'm genuinely happy that you two found each other. Thank you for telling me this. She is a wonderful person. I'm just scared, I guess. I've heard people joke terrible things about our relationship. I guess that's getting to me too. I'm in kinda the same situation. Boyfriend and I still studying. I am the only one with a job. His family is also not rich, so I'm the one bringing forth the money for us. He also struggles sometimes with that idea. He's frustrated by his financial situation and by the fact that I am the sole one to pay. Even though, like your girlfriend, I've been telling him that I love him, and it's why I have no problems paying. You know what helped us through? I asked him if he'll do the same for me, once we'll have good wages. He said yes. I said, as long as I have that promise, I'm okay with it. That relieved him. The financial inequality is not necessarily an issue if she chooses to be with you. That's not an important factor or deal breaker for many people. What could be an issue is her feeling your resentment regarding her wealth. Based on personal experience, that's what stings the most. The person you love thinking less of you, your life, or your problems. Also, you're allowed to not want her to pay for your things. She should respect that. But if you are resenting her for having money or having always had money, she can probably feel it even if you don't say out loud. That's one thing I want the most. I need her to respect when I say no. When I can't afford to take leave off work whenever she wants to go on a trip, and sometimes it just really hurts me when she makes comments about where my parents' money goes, because they are trying really hard to get by. And I am too. Edit/update. I will be talking to her about all of my feelings and everything I've said in this post. However, some of you are unbelievably just horrible and clearly grew up privileged too. I can't believe I have to explain that there is a difference between being poor in a developed country and being poor in a third world country. My dad was hardworking enough to put himself through a trade school, which gave us the opportunity to uproot ourselves away from poverty. To be able to leave, we leased our souls to very rich people in my country. We are still paying it back to this day. My mom cleans the toilets you people crap in, and my dad fixes your cars. I've seen them get belittled. I've seen my siblings with wounds all over their feet because we couldn't afford shoes. So forgive me if I'm being ungrateful when my girlfriend flaunts her generational wealth without asking for anything in return. From my point of view, I see my mother scrubbing clothes tucked in a wet and dark room all day for $4. I see my dad coming home with rice, salt, and soy sauce, with cuts and dirt all over his hands. And it makes me think, what have I done to deserve this? What have I worked for? I'm glad none of you had to go through that, but please do not invalidate how I feel when you've never been in my shoes. Thank you. Anyway, she has seen this post and all of your comments. I'm looking into her being able to come into one of my therapy sessions so we can work through this together. It's TMI, but the sessions are mainly for the things I had to go through when I was a child, so this'll be a completely different level for me, with her being in the room. For all of you saying that she should leave me, she says she'll politely decline your strange internet request. We have been in each other's lives for a while, and she plans on staying with me for the rest of it. Thanks, everyone.